Hey Martin, thank you so much for accepting this invitation to talk about creation. We organized this discussion in a form of like partnership between us. I am like here to represent Marketplace Stockholm, which is an incubator, accelerator for businesses in Stockholm. And Martin is here representing a
Lumar.
company I don't know a lot about, so I will let you talk about that.
Awesome. Thank you for inviting me. It's so nice. I've been a partner at Stockholm Marketplace for more than a year, I think, almost 2 years. And first, it was through my first company, which was Media Q, which I started when I was 17 years old, when I went to high school. But now I've changed the company to another called Lumar. And basically, what my company does is we work with digital marketing and digital communication, and we help companies to leverage sales and get brand awareness, but also to communicate more effectively to their audience and also their potential audience. And we do that through all kinds of digital means like Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, Snapchat, you name it. But mostly we focus on Facebook because that's the platform where you get the most out of what you do. So now our company Lumar is working mainly with like banks and financial institutions, and we help them to leverage sales digitally to get more people to invest in their funds and their stocks.
Amazing! It's really interesting. Quite a turn, like after Media Q. It's like it seems like you have now a really specific niche.
Yes, yes, and it's also like the financial industry is very traditional, and they really need to improve their investor relations digitally, their sales, their communication. They're very not like they're very behind in this
Hmm.
sense. So that's why I chose it.
And are they open for the change, or you need to like really put yourself out there to let them know like what's the deal?
Honestly, they're like open, but they have a hard time understanding. Uh, so I've teamed up with an ex bank manager who has a lot of contacts in the financial world, and he mostly does the talking. Usually, I come and like explain things to them, but he really knows like their way of understanding things, which really makes it easier.
Okay, interesting. And so, like you mostly work with like the brick and mortar traditional banks. No bank on the horizon. More like the hybrid banks or like the completely digital ones, or like or like so. What are the like the typical like customers to you in this sense?
Yeah, I mean, it's not necessarily only banks. It's also, for example, companies that are on the stock market that are listed that
Mm.
you can invest in. So, for example, it can also be like a medtech company that is on like the Stockholm market, and if it wants to have more retail investors or reach out to their current investors, then they also come to us for helps. And the banks we have are like it's everything from the more traditional banks to digital banks that are maybe working here in Sweden, but um trying to get their clients outside of Sweden and other parts of Europe. So, for example, one is TF Bank, which is mainly working in the German market.
Okay, I get it. It's really interesting. And so just coming back to the main idea of that we are talking together is that as you said, you have been a partner to Marketplace.com for a while now, and you have always created really nice and like amazing lectures and seminars about paid demand creation. and specifically like how you could how you should spend your money on Facebook if you want to reach your goals, whatever it should be. And we told that we haven't done so much this year yet, and why not just coming back to this idea and talk about again, because there are quite some changes in Facebook, in the algorithm, how the people are actually spending their money on social media. So why not, just freshen it up? But anyway, if you listen to us a bit later, are interested to hear anything that Martin said about market, like Facebook marketing, social media marketing before, you just find that on our YouTube page, marketplace.com's YouTube. So just you can reach back for that one. But about today, this won't be any presentation or any like strict rigorous thing. We just gonna have a conversation, but I will also lift up questions which I received from our community before. So we will go through those questions, and in the meanwhile, Martin will also give his own best ideas and tips and how he works with them. So that would be the goal for today. So if that's okay, I think it's a really proper question to start our conversation with, and it is a relevant one. However, we are like talking about it, but why should I spend money on Facebook ads? Is it worth? Can you tell your opinion about it?
Yeah, I mean, there are two answers to this one, to this question. And the first answer is, if you don't know how to use Facebook ads, then no, you shouldn't spend money on it, because you'll just waste it without getting any results. And the second answer is, yes, if you do know how to use Facebook ads in the correct way, then you should spend money on it. And then you might answer like, how do I do it the correct way? And Lila, do you want me to go into that?
Sure.
So really, Facebook ads it's like extremely, it's one of the most complicated ad platforms out there, and a lot of people who try to do it often do it like wrong when they go in, because they don't really have the knowledge that and it's not like the knowledge needed to execute good ads, and it's not like rocket science. It's not something that's really advanced. I just think that the information that's needed in order to do good ads aren't just out there and aren't clearly communicated. So really what it's all about is fundamentally like in the building blocks of doing ads, or just, I think this is like for marketing in general. It's like, first you have to know where your audience is. Like you have to locate exactly where your audience is. So let's say you're selling skateboards, just a random example. And then you either you like have to research about like audience, which people are the ones who are buying skateboards, what's the age group, what's the location, etc., etc. And then when you find this audience and you know their gender, their age, their interests, their location, um, then you have to see where are they online, like where are they located online. And so when you know where they are located online, that is where you target them. Like you have to know like, who is my audience, where is my audience, and then how can I in the most efficient way target this audience. So I can give a practical example. um, there's a thing called Facebook pixels, for example, and that's where you put a code in a website. And when you put this code in the website, you gather information about your audience. And this is really important, because the more information you gather about your audience, the more precise your ads will be towards that specific audience that is interested in your specific product. So if you have a website that is selling skateboards, then it's necessary that you put a Facebook pixel on your website and try to drive relevant traffic. Most people I've worked with already have a lot of data about their audience through, for example, email lists, and through their website that they've had a while, and they have like a lot of people who are interested who go inside and out of this website, who enter it and leave it. So when we put in the pixel, we already have so much data, and then we can directly do ads from this data, and these ads will generate good results. So there are also two scenarios in this case. So you already have information about your audience online, or you don't. And if you don't, which I assume people here don't, like, haven't started, they're just about to start, then it's important that you do cold ads, like, and then you actually don't use the pixel to begin with. Then it's important to actually drive traffic to your website, or through a landing page for that matter, and on that website and landing page, you try to find the right audience. So you create many different campaigns with many different audiences that you hypothesize will actually be interested, and then they will enter that website, and you will see which one of the ads will perform the best of your audiences that you've hypothesized with. And for example, let's say that you've done 4 different campaigns, and you see that the fourth one is performing the best, and that is the audience which is, well, young people and boys living in the suburbs of Stockholm. Well, then you say, okay, so I'll continue to pay more for this ad because it's giving me more money for every click. And then when you do that, then you can add the pixel to your website, because then you're going to drive more relevant traffic and an audience that is more relevant. And then what you do is that you do a new campaign with the pixel that you've had on your website. And this pixel will actually, you can do two things with a pixel. And the pixel, what you can do with it, either you can retarget people that's been to your website where you've driven traffic to, or you can actually create a lookalike audience. And this is something that's really valuable, um, because when you create a lookalike audience from the pixel you had in your website, you can create Facebook's AI creates a similar audience to the one that's already been to you. So you can reach out to new people with similar interests, which will actually increase your chance of conversion rate. And that's the most effective way of doing it. So yeah, sorry if I said maybe too much information there at once, but
No, you actually answered two questions in the same
great.
time, because we
Oh,
had
awesome.
pixel as
Okay,
well, so that's amazing.
awesome.
Yeah, so pixel is amazing. It is a kind of a new thing. I mean, like in recent years, I started to hear about that.
Hmm. Hmm.
Or is it like longer? I'm not sure.
It's it's been on Facebook since, I mean, I think 2015, or I mean, it might
Okay.
be earlier, even 2016, 2000,
Mm-hmm.
like. If I might be wrong, I'm not sure, but it's just that people aren't, like, first of all, they don't tell you enough about the Facebook Pixel, and it's also, people think it's something complicated, but
Yeah.
it's really not. Like, you just need to put this code in your website, and you do it
Yeah.
either through the web developer, or you can do it yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And if you do it through a landing page on, for example, MailChimp, then you don't even have to put in a code. You just, like, put in some numbers to the landing page, and you automatically will connect. Um, so yeah.
Mm, that's really good. Okay. I wanted to like go back to the initial thing that you said about like you started to say a good example about how
Mm.
to spend money on Facebook, but can you, like, generally speaking, give me an example, probably which you've seen yourself
Mm.
in your business, of a typical bad example, like how to use Facebook ads? What is the you see that people tend to do most often?
Yeah, so the typical example is like, uh, let's say you're selling shampoo this time,
Mm-hmm.
and then you create an ad, and then when it's time to create your audience, you just hypothesize, you just guess, like, oh, I think people who are women, who are maybe from their 20s to their 50s or 60s, that are interested in hair care, and beauty, I think these are the ones that will buy my shampoo. And so you just
Mhm.
choose that audience, and then you just go directly to the ad, and you just write some copy or take some picture, and maybe you don't put so much time into the copy, into the picture, and you just put it out, and you pay a lot of money, and you think that if I pay 1,000 per day, then that's going to give me results, and then
Mhm.
you'll get quite disappointed.
Mhm.
And so that's not how you do it. Like it's not that simple. Like doing ads is easy, but it's not that simple.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So you started to talk about like writing a copy, putting up a nice picture, like
Mm.
getting into the audience, and now we understand like how deeply you need to go in this creating the audience. Like you need to do your homework even before starting an ad. But
Yeah.
can we talk about like, as you see right now, what are the most important aspects of a well-designed ad? So like if we talk about the copy, if we talk about the picture, what is that in your opinion functions the best right now? What are
Yeah.
the
So I would like to give like a general answer, but the truth is like there is no objective answer to how
mm,
to do the best ad. But like you're gonna have to test different types of pictures, different type of copies. You're gonna really have to do like when you do your Facebook ads, you can always replicate your ads because the Facebook ad is divided into three parts. It's the campaign, it's the ad set, and it's the ad. And in the ad set, you choose your audience, etc., and the budget. And in the ad, you actually do the picture and the copy. So my recommendation is that when you do an ad, you create many different ads. Um, so you have like many different copies, many different pictures. Generally speaking, from my personal experience, having a very long copy that's very like informative, with a picture that's very good looking, like some kind of like wallpaper picture that you choose from pixabay.com or Unsplash, it gives like a high conversion rate because you create trust by giving a lot of information, and you engage the people. But and then sometimes this works better with video or carousel or images, but you're gonna have to try so many different types. Like really, you just have to experiment so much when you do your ads, and you're gonna have to experiment cautiously too. It's like not randomness. You're gonna have to have an hypothesis, like have a guess, and then you try that guess, and you keep the constants as much as you can, and you change one variable each time you try to improve the ad or change it. But as I said, generally speaking, a long text and a really nice picture.
mm-hmm. Okay. And when it comes to long text, it's like something that you sometimes it is a good thing, sometimes it is not. So you say that for ads a long text is actually okay because people actually hate reading. I mean, I tend
Mm.
to hear that they don't like reading, they don't like a lot of information. People want, like, people are more impulsive than that. But you say long text and informative texts are actually working better or like perform better. What do you think about that? When someone says,
Yes.
but no, I see short text, easy, simple information perform better.
Yeah, I mean, they might even be right because I'm just talking through my own personal experience.
Hmm.
Like, I don't think there are any studies showing, like, objectively speaking, which ones perform the best. So, from my personal experience, having a lot of text, really writing an engaging ad, which has like super much information, and it's super like it gives a lot of value and really engages the reader. But I mean, in some cases that might not work, like and that's why always when we do ads, we make one ad with a lot of text and a lot of information, and then we want make one with very little text, very little information.
Hmm.
And generally speaking, from my experience, the one with the longer text and more information that actually hooks the reader and creates value for them converts more.
Okay. What should be the value in such case? Like, for
Yeah.
example, shampoo reclam, and you want obviously to sell these products. So, like, what do you think should represent the value in an ad like this?
Yeah, and that's a really good question. Like that's one of the most important questions when you in marketing in general. Like this isn't just for Facebook ads. And that's like, first of all, you have to know your audience. You have to understand what they want, what they're seeking. If you don't understand your audience and you don't know what they want, you won't be able to deliver the value that they're seeking. So, for example, if you're looking for people to have skateboards, maybe you know that skateboarders, their boards really break a lot often, and then you have to understand that this is a problem that skateboarders have. And then so you bring value through actually solving their problem and emphasizing the worth that you give them. And I mean, it's so different from case to case. I mean, you really have to see like what is it that my audience values. Like in my case, my audience values that I can actually create results for them. And so then I need to engage them in a way that information that presents the trust and that I can bring them results. For example, that I show them like, oh, I've worked with these companies before, I've delivered these results before, this is probably what you're struggling with, etc., etc., etc. So there's no real like blueprint for this because there are so many variables. But really understanding what your audience wants and needs, and really trying to understand their needs and their problems, and really focusing on that, and then trying to communicate it very clearly in a way that delivers trust.
Hmm.
Yeah.
That sounds good. Okay. Yeah, I think whatever questions we have left, they are more like a bit repetitive, but we can, like,
Mm.
to those we actually mentioned before, but I guess we can actually like use them as a good example, because we have like a specific like product range and niche, so we can try to give some educative recommendations to this person. So, like, how do I know what type of audience to choose for my product? I make and sell clothing and jewelry with African roots. So if you
Mm.
would be like, meeting this person and
Mm.
asking you to have my company, what would be your, like, pitch to her? Like, you wanted to, to sell yourself as a prospect, like the person would be your customer.
Mm. Oh yeah, so they want me to be their customer for like digital marketing.
Oh yeah, exactly. So, like, you would be the, like, the provider of the digital marketing campaign or
Mm.
something like that.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, I would ask a lot of questions, which I
Mhm.
can't do now. That's usually how I work, like asking a lot of questions. I don't even do the sales. Like the first meeting, I just ask super much information in order
Mhm.
to like deduce what's the best strategy or plan that I can execute with this information. But I would say, because she's asking about her audience, right? She wants to know how to find her audience for
Mhm.
the African, what was it, African shampoo or
Clothing and jewelry.
clothing and jewelry.
Yeah, with
Yeah,
like
so,
heritage. So, but it's still locally in Stockholm.
okay. And she wants to do ads and she wants to find, like, when she does the ads, she wants to find her audience.
Yes.
Yeah, so, I mean, in that case, I would first of all, as I said earlier, she needs to have like a website,
Mm.
and in that website, she really needs to have a pixel.
Mhm.
And she can do that. Like there are so many tutorials on YouTube on how to put a pixel on a website. And as I said earlier, the pixel is super important on the website because there she can gather information about her audience. Oh, now there's a dog coming here. Oh, it's okay. It's leaving. Okay, so what she has to do is to have the pixel there, and when she has the pixel there, she can create a lookalike audience. And the pixel will either be active, like it will be green. She will see that on Facebook, and it will say like there's enough information to create a lookalike audience, or it will actually be like red, and she can see that in the audience manager, and will say like the pixel on your website doesn't even like there aren't enough people on your website to gather data. So if there aren't enough people to gather data, then she has to do is what I said earlier to actually drive traffic, like cold traffic. She has to do like these campaigns, and she has to do different ads and different ad sets with different audiences and see which audiences and ad sets perform the best. And she can see that by the cost per click. And then when she does that, and she has like different audiences that she's testing out, she drives, she pays mostly for the ad set and the ad that creates the best results for the cost per click. And then she will drive more traffic to her website for like, and it will be expensive in the beginning because you don't have an audience, like you're just starting out to sell something, so it's going to be a bit expensive in the beginning. But when you're testing, you have to really put like a low budget, maybe like 50 kroner, like 50 kroner per day. And then while she's testing, as I said earlier, she will see that one of these ads and ad sets are performing better than the others. So then she puts more money on that one until the pixel actually activates and says, well, you have enough information. Then I would immediately, when I have this pixel that's activated, I would create a new campaign. And with this campaign, I would create a lookalike audience from that pixel. And as I said earlier, the lookalike audience is the Facebook AI, which is replicating the people that were in your website to actually find similar people of that interest. So you will find like even a more narrow audience that are more likely to buy your product. And then when she does that, she can also play around with the lookalike audience. She can maybe have a lookalike audience plus expanded target audience, which means that the Facebook will actually expand and try to find new ways. Like, because we have to understand that Facebook wants you to pay for that. Facebook wants you to have it successful. So you really need to look at the options when you create these audiences. They have like expanded lookalike, detailed targeting expansion. Like, you can always click these. Like, even if you don't understand what they are, just click them and do a copy of your ad and see how the results are. Like, worst case, you'll maybe lose like 50 kroner. It's not so bad. And then when she's done that, she will notice eventually that maybe a cost, like a person visiting your website, maybe it started out costing 50 kroner for one person. But when she's tested and she's done this procedure, she will notice eventually that it will cost 2 kroner or 5 kroner. So she reduced it by like 45 kroner or 40 kroner. So yeah, I mean that's fundamentally, but you can really like go even deeper into this. You can do like retargeting ads. So every time someone actually is about to buy a product, you put a new pixel on that page, and then you do retargeting on these people because you've seen that they've been extra interested, and then you pay really maybe like 30 kroner or less, because these people are like, you don't have to spend a lot of money, and then they will be retargeted, and you can even write on that ad like, oh, how come you didn't buy my product? Let me tell you more about it. So like, really, you can experiment so much. Like, there's no blueprint. You just have to find like, where is the audience, how can I reach them, how interested are they, and if they have shown an interest, how can I reach them again? And if they already bought the product, how can I reach that audience again? And you can do all this through the Facebook pixel. So yeah.
It's really interesting. Yeah, it's you really take out the guess game with the pixel.
Yes, it's super important.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we should all learn that properly. Okay. When we talked about when we planned this discussion, we had some ideas like what we are going to talk about, and I don't really have any more questions from the community. Right? I don't want to finish this conversation without mentioning like a really beautiful three words that I am interested to hear a little bit about. It is the digital sales funnels that you have like an expertise, or like you work with it like professionally. So like I think everyone has some idea about what it is and what it entails, but I would like you to tell a little bit about that. Like, what is it? Why is it important? And how you think we should work with it and think about it?
Yeah, so the digital sales funnel is like it's a digital version of the sales funnel, and the purpose of the sales funnel is to guide your potential customer through a process that eventually makes them become a customer, right? So they're not a potential customer anymore. And so, as I said, this really goes back to the marketing fundamentals. You need to find your audience. Where are they? You need to target the audience and the location that they are digitally. So that could be a website, as I said earlier, or an Instagram account. And then you need to guide them through a process. For example, in order to gain their trust. So practically, this could be that you do ads on Instagram to a jewelry Instagram. Let's say you go to a famous jeweler on Instagram. Her name is Katarina. It's Katarina's Jewelry. You buy a shout out from her, and she puts a shout out on her story. Everyone on that story will see a link, and then they press on that link, and the story will say like, "I'll buy African jewelry from here. These are handmade, etc., etc." And then they press on the link because they're interested, and they write their information down. Let's say they write their first name, last name, and email down on a landing page that you can create through, let's say, MailChimp. And so when they do that, you will have gathered information, which is super valuable, by the way, because you can use the whole list of people who have given their emails and names to create a lookalike audience on Facebook. So that's super important. And then you can actually, then you've taken these potential customers and you've made them closer to a customer through actually gaining their information, and they've engaged one time through to your product. And then let's say they get an email the next week, and this email is presenting maybe the story about the African jewelry, and it's maybe like an email that shows maybe a video, the owner talking, etc. And then the next week it shows actually prices, and it shows the products. And for example, maybe the owner is presenting them personally through a video on this email. And so then you've gone through like another step in this sales funnel. You've got the person even more engaged. And then you can say like, oh, if you want to, and then you send a third email the third week saying, if you're interested in this jewelry, book a time with me, and you can come to my store and we can see what works for you. And then you got the potential customer who, from the start, saw a shout out and just wrote in their email and first name and last name. Now, actually, they've been booking a time with you to actually try your jewelry. And at this rate, maybe let's say 100 people actually wrote their names in the beginning on this shout out that you bought. And then let's say at the end, on 20 people maybe saw this third email that you sent. And let's say 10 of them actually booked, and 8 of them will be the ones who are actually coming to your store and trying the jewelry. And of these 8, usually like it's usually a very high conversion rate. 70% of these 8 people will buy. So that's probably like 6 people who will buy. And so that's like how that's an example of how a digital sales funnel can work. but you can be super creative with it. Like you can create so many steps, and as I said, there's no blueprint. You just have to like get into a mindset of how it's a way of thinking that you guide your customer through a process that creates trust and value and relevance for them.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That's really great. That's really
Yeah.
yeah. Actually, I had one question, not super related to what you said, but
Mm-hmm.
somehow like when we create, so like we started to talk about Facebook ads, but of
Mm.
course that doesn't mean the placement will be only on Facebook. But I am really interested about like what you say about the different placement options for your Facebook ad. So, like, meaning when your ad is displayed on Instagram or in Messenger, or there's no other placement, as I know. Like, and of course Facebook. But what do you think about that? Like, what do you think? What placement perform better, or like, and at all, what do you think about when it goes to the Messenger?
Oh yeah, so you're talking about when you do Facebook ads and where
Yeah.
you want these ads to show up, like on
Yes.
Messenger or Instagram. And yeah, I mean, also here, like there is no objective answer. Like you're gonna have to test different placements and see which one works the best. And like if your audience is more on Instagram, you will notice it. You will notice that because you can see the statistics. Like everything is there for you to observe. So from the first ad, if you're really looking at statistics and you see where your audience is coming from, you can make the next ad and save your money through actually seeing that, oh, 70% of my audience is coming from Instagram placements. Well, let's not have the other ones and just exclusively focus on Instagram placements on my next one. So yeah.
Hmm. Okay. I think it is important to mention the other side of this whole equation, like the receiver part, your audience, your customers, prospect customers, people you want eagerly to become your customers.
Hmm.
What do you think about finding the balance between actually achieving your goals and being not too intrusive with your advertisement?
Hmm. Yeah, and I mean, I'd say there are two answers to this question. Like, first of all, I don't think you're intrusive if you are bringing a real value to your customer. If you're actually targeting a customer that's interested and that really has a value of your product, then you are not intrusive. And if you are intrusive, for example, by sending, let's say, I mean, 3 emails every week, uh, usually they can just press the spam button, and we've all done that. Like something isn't interesting for us, we press the spam button and we take it away because it doesn't have any value for us. It's not relevant for us.
Mm.
Someone's just sending an email that doesn't bring us anything, right? But if you've targeted the right audience and you send them an email that actually has a value for them, something that is relevant for them, then they will open this email. And I mean, I've had when I do like send out emails to potential customers, sometimes 20% of the emails get opened. Well, then I know I've done something wrong from the start. Like, then I haven't actually gotten the email list that I've gathered through a Facebook ad or a shout out or a Twitter ad or maybe just a normal LinkedIn. Um, like I put out the normal thing on LinkedIn, a picture or whatever. Then I've done something wrong in the beginning, and so you will notice if you are intrusive. And you can also see the statistics when you send out your emails through MailChimp. You'll see how many open them, how many unsubscribed. If you do it correctly, then you'll have maybe 60% of people, 70% of people actually opening your emails. Then you know you've actually given value to the people who are subscribing to email. Like they're actually giving information to you, and they're also getting value. So you will notice, and you can also see this statistically.
Okay. But what do you think, what is the appropriate amount of newsletters per month?
I'd say
Of
like
course, different phases. I understand that you don't have the different goals and phases with that, but like on an average term or like period. Like not a new customer and not like, nothing special going on.
yeah, I'd say once a week. Like if it's nothing really special, like yeah, once a week on average. But this is just me talking from personal experience. So once a week.
Okay. Yeah, that's good. Yeah, you mentioned LinkedIn. What do you think about LinkedIn ads?
Extremely hard, and like I'm doing an ad now for LinkedIn's where we're just testing something for a client. Like we spent 1,000 without getting a single person giving out their email. So I mean, and I did this ad through actually giving, like I gave LinkedIn a list of 2,000 people with their first name, last name, and email, and I created a lookalike audience of these 2,000 people. And despite that, LinkedIn couldn't generate, their AI couldn't generate an audience that actually gave their information and the landing page. So from personal experience, LinkedIn is not working so good. But I think organically, if you do it correctly, and you can build an audience and followers through LinkedIn and continuously create content that is actually engaging and relevant and valuable for your followers, then you can actually probably organically get them to give you information or to make them potential customers. But through their ads, in my personal experience, I haven't noticed them being so effective compared to Facebook. Like I spend a lot of money on them and I really try to do it correctly, and it's not giving the results that I want.
Hmm. Okay. And what do you think is the same true for Facebook and Instagram? Meaning that if you have the great amount of authenticity and you can create a community, just like you said an example on LinkedIn, do you ever need advertisement for Facebook or LinkedIn, or their algorithm is actually working in a way that you cannot actually grow out from the crowd? I mean, like that it's too fast, and even the algorithm working that way, that's at some point, if you need to achieve something big, you need to go to the ads. What do you think about that?
Oh, that's a good question. Very good question. I would say that like you should always start organically because you want to save your money, and it's this is really a question about speed. Like how fast do you want to grow? You can grow organically and make so much money and sell so many of your products and your service and get like so many customers just through being an organic. And what I mean by organic is that you don't spend any money, just like building a community on Instagram and Facebook and following people. But it takes time, right? And I think the reason that people spend money is because they want it to go faster, right? They want to achieve their results um, in a faster pace. So that's really like up to you. Like, do you have the money and are you willing to wait?
Hmm. Okay. And I don't think that I have any more questions. Is there anything that you would like to add to our discussion today?
Yeah, just that you should do your homework. Like learning a new skill is hard in the beginning, and like as with everything, like it's unusual. It takes a lot of conscious effort. You have to focus, think slow, understand the information. And once you've done your homework and really like understood the value of the pixel and the fundamentals of Facebook ads and understanding how Mailchimps work and how these digital sales funnels work, you will intuitively go into that pattern of thinking. It will become subconscious, not conscious, and you will
Hmm.
like produce much better results. But really, just to do your homework. And I think for the average person, it takes like a week maybe of understanding these things, and I think they can start doing it on their own.
Hmm.
And that's like that week is valuable because it will bring such a great value to you. So yeah.
Thank you so much, Martin. That was, I think, a really good conversation. I learned a lot of things, and I also like being reminded a lot of things that I should do and
Okay,
how I should
nice.
do. So, at least for me, I don't know how many people will listen to this later on, but at least for me, it was pretty good.
Great, great. I'm happy that it brought value to you.